Welcome to I Was an NEC Student Athlete 40th Anniversary Edition. I'm Ralph Ventre. Glad to be with you today. The woman I am speaking with was a phenomenal NEC student athlete, a two-time conference champion with Central Connecticut. It's former All-NEC softball pitcher, Laura Messina. Laura, welcome to the podcast. We'll start you out with an easy question. You were an NEC student athlete who graduated 6 years ago. Where are you now?
So now I am at University of Massachusetts. I'm the assistant softball coach, mainly obviously a pitching coach. I'm in my second year. We just finished our season. Unfortunately, not the way we wanted to finish our season, but just finished my second year there.
And I know prior to that, I believe you were at Fordham. You also had coaching stints at Rutgers Newark and UConn, I believe. So you've kind of stayed into softball, diving right into the coaching ranks after graduating. So my question to you is, why did you decide to pursue these coaching opportunities directly out of college?
Well, honestly, the head coach at Central is Bree Gleason. Bree was my pitching coach my sophomore year, and obviously my head coach junior and senior year. But Bree was a huge reason for my love of softball, my love of pitching, and my want to continue to learn the game, grow the game, and coach the game. We had a very, very good relationship. And after my sophomore year and after winning and just seeing how fun and amazing that was, I was like, you know what? I want to coach. Like, my major was criminal justice, and I wanted to be a cop at one point. And the more I learned softball and the more I saw like what kind of impact she had, especially with me, I was like, I want to do this, and I want to do this for other kids.
What is your favorite part about being a coach? And, what's the most rewarding part of being a coach? I know you've done this for 6 seasons already.
That's crazy. Wow. That makes me feel really old. My favorite part about being a coach is winning. But honestly, making the relationships with the girls, seeing how they grow, and, putting that time in, seeing how much time it takes to get to know somebody and figure out how they respond to your coaching and how they, what makes them tick, what makes them do well, what they need to, how they need to be coached to do what they need to do and how to excel and reach their full potential.
Now, obviously, with your initial answer there about winning, you've always appeared to be an extremely competitive person, definitely out on the field when you were out in the circle for CCSU. And I know that obviously you still want to win, even as a coach. Yeah. How do you instill those values onto the current day players that you coach? How do you make them want to win just as much as you do?
Luckily, I get to compete a lot with them, and I still pitch all the time during practice. So, in the beginning of the year, I strike them out a lot because that's just, they're getting used to like getting back in the swing of things. And then, but I try and stay as competitive on the field as I was when I was a player. I think that helps. And for the pitchers, we do tons of competitions. Like, our pitching workouts are competitions because I need them to get in that mindset and get in that mental space of, I want to win. Like, I want to beat the person next to me, even though it's my teammate. I want to beat the person next to me. And, we'll do some teamwork ones too. So they'll work together with one teammate to beat the other two teammates and stuff like that. So, I try to make it as competitive and, fun, but also productive as possible.
What is that UMass lineup batting against you? Do you guys keep any kind of official stats there? Or they?
No. Honestly, they hit really well this year, which was awesome. And, it's just funny thinking about like back in January, and then now we hit over 300 as a team, which is so great. And by the end of the season, they were all hitting the crap out of me, and I was like, oh man, I gotta I don't know. I got to figure it out.
Let's go back to now to your playing career. And at the start of it, why did you choose Central Connecticut? I know you mentioned you wound up having a great relationship with Bree Gleason during your playing days there, but was she a part of the recruiting process, or why exactly did you choose CCSU, being from down in South Jersey? And I assume you had a number of offers.
I actually didn't. So I chose Central. I have family in New England, and I kind of felt like I wanted to be in New England. I don't know why, because now I'm thinking I keep staying in New England. It's cold here. I would love to be somewhere warm. I don't know what's wrong with me. So I had family in New England. I was looking at schools in New England. Primarily schools, I thought NEC was my level where I wanted to go and compete. I wanted to be the number one from the day I got there. I didn't even think about winning championships. I thought more along the lines of like, I want to play and make an impact. So Bree wasn't there. Bree wasn't the coach, wasn't a coach yet. She coached at New Haven, actually, where I was also recruited. So New Haven and Central were pretty much the only two people that like offered me anything really. I also looked at a few other NEC schools, Sacred Heart, tried to look at Monmouth. They didn't have room or whatever. So I picked Central because best offer. I wanted to play Division I, which is funny because my best friend went to New Haven, and I would have been coached by Bree at New Haven too, and that would have been like a weird, just full circle thing. But yeah, so that's why I picked Central, and it just so happened that like the coach at the time said, I'll give you the ball and we want to win a championship with you. And I was like, cool. Yeah, that sounds great. Whatever.
Yeah, well, you took the ball, and as a freshman, you were a second team all-conference pitcher. And then sophomore, junior, senior year, of course, first team all-conference pitcher. It seems like you said you thought you were an NEC level type pitcher. Obviously you were a pretty good college pitcher right from the start, regardless of conference or school. You mentioned that the championship thing, and it was no secret that Central never had great success in NEC softball, and they had never won a championship prior to your arrival. When did you get the feeling that it was possible? When did you first, was it your freshman year? I know you won it all as a sophomore, but was it the freshman season where you realized, hey, this may be more than just an opportunity to pitch in college. This may be a championship team, or this may be something special that's happening here?
Honestly, it was not my freshman year. As a freshman, and I try and tell all freshmen this, like, you get thrown into the fire, you have no idea what's going on. You're just like a chicken without your head cut off, or with your head cut off. And my biggest thing for freshmen is make sure you do everything. Make sure you do every rep in the weight room. Make sure you go to the extra work. Make sure you do your own extra work. Make sure if you need to work out more, work out more. If you need to pitch a little extra. Those were things that I did not do as a freshman. And, I guess I was a good pitcher, but if I put in that extra work my freshman year, I would have been a great pitcher. We would have went to the tournament. We didn't even go to the tournament my freshman year. I was like, yeah, we're okay. Like, we were an okay team. We had an injury at the end of the year. Like, we just had a few things that went wrong at the end of the year that kind of prevented us from going to the tournament too. But my sophomore year, we had a senior class of 7 people who once Kelsey Barlow in particularly she was not leaving Central Connecticut without winning an NEC championship. And she brought everybody together and she said, we're winning the championship. That's it. And, all of us were like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, we weren't even close last year. We're not going to win. And she was like, no, we're winning. So she kind of forced like team bonding on us. She forced like going extra practices, all this stuff on us. And we were all like, this is annoying. But by the end of the year / by conference season, and when I think we were started the season or conference 12-0 that year, and we were like, oh crap, that stuff worked. that stuff really got us where we are. And you know, we played LIU, I think our first series or second, I forget. And we swept them and we run ruled them. We were like, whoa, how did we do that? Like they won last year. And once that happened and we just kept rolling, and it was just so fun. Like we just had a blast, but it was because we put the time in, we put the work in, we did the team bonding. We all got along pretty much for the most part, as much as we also had 26 girls on the team, which is a lot of girls for a softball team. So, you know, as much as 26 girls could get along, we really got along that year.
Yeah, 16-4 in the NEC regular season champs, 36 wins overall, 36-15 for a team from the Northeast region. You know, anytime you can get to that 30 win plateau, you know you've done something special. So with that said, let's look back to that 2013 NEC tournament. You were on the field, of course, for the final out. You threw the pitch. What do you remember from that day or just that weekend in 2013?
I remember waking up at 5:30 probably every morning, scared, like just nervous, sweating, like went down to breakfast super early every day, and Bree would have to talk me off the ledge. That happened in my sophomore, junior, and senior year. Have to talk me off the ledge, like, you're fine, we're good, we got it, we're gonna win. Not that I didn't think we were gonna win. You know, I always, we're gonna win. We have that championship mentality. We really had it that year. And I don't necessarily remember much about in that year about being on the field, besides we hit so well that year. We had 4 people on our team with 10 home runs, which we never had after that. And, you know, you knew when Kat Malcolm got up, you knew when Nicole Springer got up, you knew when Ariel got up, something was going to happen. And that was just like, I remember more of us hitting. Like, I remember Nicole hitting home runs. I remember Ariel hitting home runs. I remember after that, Nicole getting hit multiple times because they didn't want her to hit home runs. And I just remember that being so cool. And I don't like, I've watched it a million times because I just love it. I love the highlights. I think they're so fun. You know, we had a great defense. We had so many freshmen. Eileen was just playing shortstop out there, like making amazing plays as a freshman. And it's so funny to watch now.
Yeah, I mean, you are pretty modest because the first thing you talked about was the offense and the hitting in that tournament. But I'm talking to that tournament MVP right here. So you threw a complete game victory in the championship clincher, beating LIU 4-3. And as you mentioned, LIU had a great history of winning in the NEC, and they were the previous year's champion. You shut them down for the complete game, 4-3 win. You won the MVP award. You mentioned Kat Malcolm. She was on the all-tournament team, as well as Nicole Springer. Mm-hmm. And that was the first ever championship in Central Connecticut softball history. Now, 2 years later, you do it again. Were they both as rewarding, or did you have more fun one year than another? What about that 2015 team do you remember in particular?
I feel like I remember a lot more about 2015. I don't know if it's because it was only 6 years ago instead of 8 years ago, or just because that year we always talk about it was just a challenge. Like one of our starting best hitters tore ACL, and she was out for the season. And you know, we just had a lot of new faces, and we weren't as good of a hitting team. We got by, obviously, but you know, we would get by 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-2, like just very, very close games. And it was always kind of a nail biter. So I don't think, you know, we weren't necessarily as talented. We got along really well. We had really good team chemistry. We all worked really hard. So 2015 definitely sticks out a little bit more in my mind as just like a challenge, a grind. It was so fun. Like, to win that NEC championship game just showed how much our team fought. And, you know, I threw a lot of shutouts that year, and we didn't, again, like I said, we didn't hit that well, but that championship game, we came out and they were like, we are not losing this game. We're going to hit any dinky hit, any triple we can hit, any double we can hit. We're going to hit it, and we're going to somehow win this game in 8 innings, 9-8, like something crazy. And, you know, it's just, it still gives me chills just thinking about how crazy that was and how it was like 5-0 in the 4th inning. Like, how did we pull that out? I still don't know.
No, you're exactly right. It was 9-8. You pitched the first game for Central in the tournament that year, 2-1 in 8 innings over FDU.
Yep.
And then, of course, you came back for the clincher against LIU. You pitched a complete game as well, but you mentioned you spotted them a 5-run lead. The team comes back. You win in the 8th inning, 9-8. And just, do you remember the feeling of that final out? And when the ball hits the glove, just kind of a sense of elation or what?
Yes. Like the whole game, I just kept giving up home runs. Like it was just like one after the other. I just feel like I kept turning around and just like, holy crap. And Eileen's behind me. She's just like, please just keep the ball low. And my best pitch is a rise ball. So like, it's nearly impossible for me to keep the ball low. Like I just am not good at it. So I just kept the ball, kept going up, it kept going out. And I kept looking, Eileen's like crouched down, like, what is happening right now? And I just was, and especially because it was Nicole Archer, you know, she, I think, was one of the only people that didn't hit a home run off me. She's up to bat, runner on second, 2 outs, down, we're up by 1. And I'm like, could be this, like give her 1 ball. It's going to go out of the park. We're done. But somehow, by the grace of God, ground ball to me. And then of course, I don't have the very best fielding percentage or, you know, I'm not very good at throwing the ball to first base. So I know the LIU coach, I remember him saying, yes. And I was like, luckily it was fine. It was quick, painless, but.
You didn't think about it. You just did it, right?
Yeah. I was just like, thank God it didn't go to the outfield. Please God. So I do remember that just being like, holy crap, thank God it's over.
You win and you go on to the NCAA tournament again that year. I believe you played Georgia and North Carolina. But I want to go back to that 2013 season again, because when you went to the NCAA that year, you went to Baton Rouge Regional, and we know how good LSU is in the softball world. And I believe you were tied with them 2-2 into the late innings. I think it was a 1-run loss, a 3-2 loss to LSU. But then you came back, you run ruled Norfolk State in the losers bracket game, and that was the first ever NCAA tournament win for Central Connecticut. So that has to be meaningful in some way. But take us back to that 2013 Baton Rouge Regional and just starting it off, going up against LSU and going toe-to-toe with the Tigers.
Well, the whole experience of winning and then the selection show and then going to Baton Rouge was just nuts. Like we had cameras all over the place. People were interviewing us. We felt like we were just so important. And it was just such a cool experience. It was so fun. And like, I'll always go back to that just because, you know, it was the first one in school history. So it was just unbelievable. And LSU is still my favorite team to watch, to you know, I mean, they were just classy. It was just a fun environment. It was, I remember it was so hot there. We were dying of heat exhaustion. Like we were like, oh my God, what is, like, we just came from Connecticut. It was cold. Like it's 80, 90 degrees here. We're dying. But you know, playing LSU and just, I think we couldn't even be nervous. We were just like, this is happening. Like, we're doing it. And, you know, naturally I made a throwing error to, I think, give them their first run because that's just what I do. So embarrassing. But I felt like the game went by so fast because we were just in it. We were in it the whole time. And, you know, nobody expected us to do well or win or anything like that. So not that we didn't expect us to win, but I think just being able to stay in it that long was just huge and just so fun. Like, it was just such a fun experience.
All right. So we've covered a lot of great moments here during your playing career at Central Connecticut. Is there anything that we're missing? Is there a particular CCSU memory that will always be with you? What was your favorite part about your 4 years up in New Britain?
Oh, there's so many, but I would definitely say that first. I mean, both NEC championships, obviously, and going to LSU was definitely the highlight, I think. And just like the adversity that we went through so much adversity with coaching changes and just injuries and stuff like that, you're just like, we go back and we still reminisce about all these fun times and just how crazy and how nuts it was that we did what we did. But in 2013, we weren't very good at the beginning of the season. We played at Hofstra. We played Hofstra and UConn 2 times each. We got demolished. I pitched horribly. We got reamed out. We got yelled at for literally an hour on the bus. And I think, and we all still talk about it, like that was the turning point of our season. That's when the next weekend we played LIU, I think, and we went 4-0 on the weekend, and we were like, this is it. Like, that was our turning point. That was our wake up call to be like, we're way better than this, and this is how we have to play it if we're going to win an NEC championship.
Now, do you still keep in touch with Bree Gleason today? And are you still keeping tabs on your Blue Devils? Because they went down to the last weekend and they almost had the number 1 seed.
Oh yeah, I talk to Bree all the time, at least once a week. We talk a little bit, and we always talk pitching too in the off season and all that, because she's my number 1 role model with the pitching. She's taught me everything, and she helps me with everything.
One last question before we end it here. Obviously, softball has been a huge part of your life growing up through college and now as your livelihood and your profession. But what about the game of softball, and what about competing as an athlete at Central? Has that, or what in particular has helped you navigate through your postgraduate life? Has your experience playing ball come up clutch for you at some point in life?
Oh yeah, for sure. We always talked about how much adversity we had to face, because just every year there was something happened. And, you take that with you. It's just, the accountability, the adversity, the time management, all that stuff you take with you, but especially the adversity. I started coaching. I was a GA at a Division III school, loved it, loved the girls. It was great. It was a good experience. I really wanted to get back to Division I, coached at Fordham, loved it. It was great. We won an A10 championship. We went to LSU. Like, that's awesome. Then Bridget gets another job at Villanova. You expect to be somewhere a few years. She's been there for 17 years. You're like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good. Like, I could stay for 2 or 3 years. Gets the job at Villanova. So I'm searching for another job. My best friends always tell me everything happens for a reason. Something's gonna land. Get the job at UConn in late September. Love it there. Jen Mack was a great role model, is a great role model, great person to coach under. And then everything went down there, and don't have a job again. And then, Christy calls me up and she's like, hey, I know you're looking for a job. I need a pitching coach. What do you think? I'm like, well, UMass, Fordham, kind of weird, but why not? So, now I'm here. It's been a roller coaster for sure. But I just think, as an athlete, you are taught to get through it. You're taught to persevere. You're taught to work with that adversity, hold yourself accountable, figure out what you can do to be better every single day. And I think that at Central, that's what I learned through Bree, through my teammates. We always got through things together, and I think that's why I'm here now. And whatever life brings me this year, hopefully I get another year at UMass would be great. But whatever life brings me, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you throw the ball 10 feet over the first baseman's head into the stands, but you come back the next pitch and refocus and get it done. So whether it's at UMass, I'm sure you'll land somewhere on the sidelines because obviously you have a lot to offer the young women today who are college student athletes just like you were. But with that said, Laura, thank you so much for your time. Laura Messina, Central Connecticut State legend, former NEC Pitcher of the Year, a 4-time All-NEC performer, and now just finished the 2021 season as an assistant coach at UMass Amherst. This was an edition of I Was an NEC Athlete with Laura Messina, a 40th anniversary edition. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.